Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go over the Outlaw Rogue rotation in both dungeons and in raiding. I've had a lot of questions about this, so I hope I can answer most of them today. Let's get into it. Alright, so first off I want to talk about cooldown management as an Outlaw Rogue. It differs a lot from the cooldown management of any other class that I've played in the past, and that means that we basically never hold our cooldowns. We use our cooldowns on cooldown. That is because the passive called Restless Blades finishing moves reduce the remaining cooldown of basically all your rogue abilities by 1 second per combo point. That is further enhanced by the Roll the Bones buff True Bearing. That is one of our best buffs, and I will discuss that a little later in the video. But this passive makes it so we will always use our cooldowns on cooldown. I basically never hold my cooldowns for anything unless there's like a weakness phase on the boss coming up, or there's a pride coming up after the next pack that I really need to kill, or something like that. But it's very rare that I ever hold my cooldowns, because even though Adrenaline Rush is a 3-minute cooldown, I end up having it about every 1 minute 20 seconds, somewhere around there, depending on my RNG a little bit. But that's about how often I have Adrenaline Rush, for example. And this goes for all of your cooldowns. So it's very important to not hold cooldowns. I see a big mistake people make in their rotation is that they hold cooldowns, for example. They're like, I gotta wait for a bigger pack to use my cooldowns in dungeons, for example. But you don't want to do that. You just want to use your cooldowns all the time. So that's the biggest thing to keep in mind during this video and when you're playing Outlaw Rogue yourself, is that we use our cooldowns on cooldown. Alright, let's talk about the rotation now. So, there are a few rules when it comes to playing the Outlaw Rogue. Rather than like a set rotation or a set opener, we have rules and priority lists. So it's a little bit different from what we're used to, and I'll try to clear that up in this video, right? So, the first one is we want to keep Slice and Dice up. This is for both Raiding and Mythic Plus. We want to keep Slice and Dice up. That is because of our legendary, the Celerity legendary. And that it gives us some damage when we have Adrenaline Rush up, but it also gives you a chance when Slice and Dice is active to gain the Adrenaline Rush effect for 3 seconds. That's why we want to keep Slice and Dice up all the time. After that, we want to keep Between the Eyes up on the target that we're currently focusing. In a Mythic Plus scenario, you should be focusing the highest health target to get a good uptime on your Between the Eyes, right? Unless there's something that you desperately need to kill first, like a hard-hitting caster or something like that. You basically just want to make sure that the mob you're putting Between the Eyes on will live for the duration of Between the Eyes. If the mob is about to die, there's absolutely no point of putting Between the Eyes on there, because this patch does twice the damage of Between the Eyes. So it's better to hit them with the 6 combo point dispatch or 5 combo point dispatch rather than a Between the Eyes if they're about to die. Because we use Between the Eyes for the effect, not for the damage. So you don't want to just throw that out randomly. Then your third priority is Rolling the Bones. You want to keep True Bearing or Broadsides or any double roll that you have. Sometimes when I have Grand Melee, I'll put it on the screen right now so you can see which rolls there are, but sometimes when I have Grand Melee and Buried Treasure, I will reroll there because I feel like they're not that strong. Like they give you Slice and Dice and they give you some energy. They're not that strong, so those I will reroll if I get those two together, but if I get any other rolls together, like a Grand Melee and a Skull and Crossbones, for example, then I will keep them. So, unless you have True Bearing or Broadsides as a single buff, you want to reroll. If you have any double buffs, you want to keep them. That's the general rule. True Bearing is really strong because it gives you more cooldown reduction per combo point spent from Restless Blades. And since we talked about that in the beginning of the video, True Bearing is insanely strong because of this, and this just further feeds into using cooldowns on cooldown, right? So it's really important to do that. Broadsides also gives you more combo points, which... Okay, so broadsides gives you more combo points, which makes you spend more combo points, which reduces your cooldowns, right? So the whole spec is built around reducing your own cooldowns as efficiently as possible, and that's how you do damage, by just throwing out your cooldowns all the time. So this further clarifies that you don't want to hold on to any cooldowns ever. You want to use your cooldowns on cooldown. That's the most important thing. Also, a question I've got a lot is when to finish with your finishers, right? You want to finish with max combo points at all times, unless you have the broadsides buff active from Roll the Bones, or you have an opportunity proc for your pistol shot. So if you get the opportunity proc, that means that you want to spend your combo points as fast as possible so you can use the opportunity proc, because you don't want to write over your opportunity proc with another opportunity proc. Like, you want to use it because it's really efficient to use it. So if you have 5 combo points, and let's say you're playing deeper stratagem, you have 5 combo points, you get a proc of opportunity, then you want to use your finisher right away, and then you can use your opportunity proc with pistol shot for the next finisher, right? So like building up combo points for the next one. Same with broadsides. Broadsides makes it so your Sinister Strike will always give you 2 combo points. So if you're at 5, then you're guaranteed to waste 1 combo point if you use another Sinister Strike. So that's why it's better to just finish there and then just start building towards the next one. So if you have broadsides, you finish on 5. If you have an opportunity proc, you finish on 5. Otherwise, you finish on 6. And if you're playing Mark for Death, it's just the same rules apply, but with 5. So then you will finish on 4 sometimes. You will finish on 4 if you have opportunity proc or broadsides buff on you, right? So it's the same thing, it's just different numbers because you have a different maximum of combo points. So that's the only thing. Some special rules for single target is that you don't want to use your Blade Rush all the time. The Blade Rush is the last ability, right? This one. It costs no energy, and it gives you 25 energy over 5 seconds. So you want to use that when you're low on energy. When you're getting low on energy. If you just use it on max energy like this, you won't get any energy out of it. So it's a little wasted. So you want to try to keep that for when you need the energy. That's the only thing. So you don't just want to use it on cooldown. I've been making that mistake a lot. You can probably see in my videos that I've been making that mistake, but I've read into it now and come up with it. That I've looked through logs and stuff like that, and you definitely want to use this only when you need the energy, because the damage on its own does not justify the use of it. Even though the damage is pretty good, you still want to use it when you need the energy. You don't want to just overcap and waste the energy. So that's the big one. But that's it for single target. Other than that, just follow the priorities and the rules that I listed, right? For AoE, it's also one exception, is that Blade Flurry is now your most important ability to keep up, and you want to try to spend as many combo points during Blade Flurry as possible to activate more Restless Blades, and then you get Blade Flurry up faster. Because Blade Flurry is a 12-second buff and it's a 30-second cooldown. So it's reliant on you spending combo points during Blade Flurry to reduce its cooldown so you can have close to 100% uptime. Blade Flurry is your most important thing to keep up in AoE situations, because without it you're only hitting 1 target. With it you're hitting 5 targets. It's a huge difference. You're hitting 4 targets for 40%, of course, but you're still hitting 5 targets. So Blade Flurry is the most important thing in AoE situations. So with this out of the way, I bet you're asking me, what's the opener, right? Because we always used to be super big on openers. Like when we were playing Assassination, we would try to min-max the openers as much as possible and stuff like that. And it's hard to give you a set opener because it changes depending on what rolls you get. If you pre-roll a broadside, you don't want to use the same opener, because then you will waste your combo points. Like you pre-roll a broadside so you get extra combo points. You don't want to use the same opener then. But unless you get broadsides, then this is my opener. So I ambush into Adrenaline Rush, into Vanish, into another ambush, into activating Slice and Dice, and then I Sinister Strike until I have combo point cap, or my combo point cap -1 if I have opportunity or broadsides. This still applies at all times, even in the opener. So then I get to either 4, 5, or 6 combo points I will use between the eyes. And after this, the opener is basically done, and you will just go on with the other rules, right? So I'll show you what it looks like. And if you get the broadsides, because you're always supposed to roll the bones before you attack, like a raid boss, for example, in single target, and in Mythic Plus, you're always supposed to do it before the combat starts. So if you get the broadsides buff, then I would probably do ambush into Adrenaline Rush, into Slice and Dice, into Vanish, into ambush, into Between the Eyes, right? So then it's like you do one less ambush before the first Slice and Dice. That's probably what I would do, just to not waste any combo points. So that's the difference I would make. So we roll the bones here, we get True Bearing, right? That's good. So we start with ambush, Adrenaline Rush, Vanish, ambush, Slice and Dice, and then we build up our combo points to 5 with Between the Eyes, and then it's just, now we're just doing our usual rotation here. And we want to finish on 6 combo points here because we're playing Deeper Stratagem. And here we can use Blade Rush since we need the energy. And that's basically the opener. As long as you follow those rules, you will be super fine, right? And here we have Vanish coming up again. So here we would Vanish. You need to make sure you have 50 energy before you Vanish, otherwise your ambush will not go off. Alright, so I almost forgot to add the AoE section. The reason I did is because it's incredibly similar to the single target opener. The only difference is that after your first ambush and your Adrenaline Rush, you want to use Blade Flurry to hit all the targets around you. So that's the only difference. And then you want to use, as soon as you have put Between the Eyes on the target, you want to use Blade Rush to get it on cooldown as fast as possible, right? The reason I want to use Between the Eye first is because then the initial big hit on your main target will do 20% increase, like it will have a 20% increased chance to crit. So your opener might look something like this. It's on square right now. The best thing you can do is watch my Mythic Plus videos, but I'll show you something right now of what it might look like. It's kind of hard to talk while I do it, so just keep an eye down here to the right if you want to see exactly what abilities I use. My add-on will show you right down there. So I'll just show you a little bit of what it might look like. So something like that is what the opener might look like. The things I try to think about is I try to use my Blade Flurry. Even if I have Blade Flurry active, I always activate Blade Flurry as often as I can because it does a little AoE around you whenever you activate it. So I definitely try to activate this as many times as possible. I always try to use Blade Rush after I have used Between the Eyes, because then the big hit on my main target will have a 20% increased chance to crit. So I always try to use it after I use the Between the Eyes. Between the Eyes, in the beginning there, you saw that I used Slice and Dice on 4 combo points, and I used Between the Eyes on 4 combo points. In the opener, it's not as bad to use Between the Eyes on less than max combo points. This is because I don't want to wait too long in AoE situations to use Blade Rush. I don't want to spend too long building up the combo points before I can use the Blade Rush, because mobs might start dying and I want to get that big AoE damage out there to use the Blade Rush. So something like that is what the AoE rotation might look like, but the best way to see what my AoE rotation look like is to go to either my stream or my YouTube videos where I play Mythic Plus, right? But that's basically it. So there's no set opener for Outlaw. You only have a set amount of rules and priorities that you want to play after. So that's as good as I can explain it. I've laid out the rules and the priorities that I think about when I play Outlaw. And now the best thing you can do if you still want to know more about rotation is to watch me play it either on my stream or on the point of view videos that I've uploaded to YouTube. That's probably the best way to learn the rotation. Now that you know the rules, now that you know my thinking behind it, now you can hopefully just think about that as you're watching my other content, and then you will be able to understand how the rotation works a little bit better. I hope that I answered most of your questions now about the Outlaw rotation, about the priorities and the rules to the Outlaw rotation. It's a little confusing at first, but once you start to think as an Outlaw rogue, right, a little bit different system, a little bit different line of thinking, then it becomes pretty straightforward and pretty fun, to be honest, because it's a very reactive rotation. A lot of things can change depending on your procs and depending on what happens, and it's a fun rotation, honestly. So I hope that I could help you make some sense out of all this, and I hope to see you on my stream or in the next video. Thank you for watching, and take care, guys.